the world is standing on the brink of a monumental shift. The next 5 years, from 2026 to 2030, could redefine global power and money forever. What will happen to your job, your savings, and your future? We're about to decode the seismic economic trends that will shape our world. Forget everything you thought you knew. The game is changing, and the rules are being rewritten as we speak. Today, we're diving deep into the 5 critical forces that will dictate the next half-decade. Persistent inflation, the unstoppable rise of artificial intelligence, the high-stakes green energy transition, the ticking time bomb of global debt, and the dramatic reshuffling of world powers. This isn't just about numbers on a screen. It's about the real-world impact on you, your family, and your community. So, let's begin our journey into the future, starting with the year 2026. As we enter 2026, the aftershocks of the early 2020s are still being felt. Inflation, though hopefully moderated from its peak, remains a persistent ghost in the machine. Central banks around the world will be walking a tightrope, trying to foster growth without letting prices spiral out of control again. For the average person, this means the cost of living will likely stay elevated. That morning coffee, the weekly grocery bill, the dream of buying a home all, will continue to be shaped by this ongoing battle. At the same time, the AI revolution kicks into a higher gear in 2026. We'll see AI automation move beyond customer service chatbots and into more complex sectors like logistics, manufacturing, and even creative industries. This will create a fascinating paradox. Incredible efficiency gains and new job categories will emerge, but many traditional roles will face redundancy. The key question for governments and individuals will be, how do we reskill our workforce fast enough to keep up? The digital divide will widen, separating those who can adapt from those who are left behind. Now, let's turn our attention to the global stage. The influence of the US and China continues to be the defining geopolitical narrative. But in 2026, we'll see other players assert themselves more forcefully. The European Union, striving for strategic autonomy, will push harder on regulations for tech and green energy, trying to set global standards. Meanwhile, the BRICS nations Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, now expanded, will be building parallel financial systems, seeking to reduce their reliance on the US dollar. This creates a multipolar world, full of both new opportunities and new tensions. Moving into 2027, the green energy transition reaches a critical inflection point. The commitments made in the early 2020s are now being put to the test. We'll see massive investments in solar, wind, and hydrogen infrastructure, creating a boom in related industries. However, this transition won't be smooth. The demand for critical minerals like lithium and cobalt will skyrocket, creating new geopolitical flashpoints and supply chain vulnerabilities. For consumers, the push for electric vehicles and energy-efficient homes will become less of a choice and more of a necessity, driven by both regulations and rising fossil fuel costs. Simultaneously, the mountain of global debt, accumulated by governments, corporations, and households, becomes a primary concern. By 2027, many developing nations will be facing severe debt crises, forcing them to make difficult choices between paying creditors and funding essential public services like healthcare and education. This isn't just a problem for them, it's a problem for everyone. A wave of defaults could send shockwaves through the global financial system, reminiscent of past crises, but on a potentially larger scale. The International Monetary Fund and World Bank will be working overtime, but their resources may be stretched to the limit. By 2028, the economic landscape we knew is transforming rapidly. AI is no longer just a tool. It's becoming a foundational layer of the economy. We'll see the rise of fully autonomous supply chains, AI-driven scientific research, and personalized services that anticipate our needs before we even know them. This will unlock unprecedented productivity, but it will also raise profound ethical questions about data, privacy, algorithmic bias, and the very nature of work. The debate will shift from, will a robot take my job, to, what is the human role in a world run by AI? This AI-powered economy will also reshape the power balance. The nations leading in AI development, primarily the US and China, will gain a significant economic and strategic advantage. Their corporations will dominate global markets, and their technological standards will become the default. The EU will find itself in a race to catch up, while other nations risk becoming mere consumers of foreign technology, dependent on systems they don't control. This technological rivalry will be the new front line in the ongoing great power competition. As we approach 2029, the consequences of the green transition become clearer. The global energy map is being redrawn. Countries rich in renewable resources and the minerals to support them will see their geopolitical influence grow, while traditional oil and gas exporters will face an existential crisis. This will lead to a volatile period in energy markets. We might see price spikes and shortages as the old system declines before the new one is fully built. For businesses, adapting to this new energy reality will be a matter of survival. Carbon pricing and green regulations will be a standard cost of doing business globally. This is also the year when demographic shifts start to bite hard. Aging populations in developed countries like Japan, Germany, and even China will strain pension systems and healthcare services. Labor shortages in key sectors will become chronic. In contrast, countries with younger populations, like India and many nations in Africa, will have a demographic dividend. If they can provide education and jobs for their youth, they could become the new engines of global growth. This demographic divergence will create new patterns of migration, investment, and consumption. And so we arrive at 2030. The world looks very different. The global economy is more digital, more green, and more multipolar than ever before. AI has been integrated into nearly every aspect of life, creating a society of incredible convenience and efficiency, but also one grappling with new forms of inequality. The transition to clean energy is well underway, but the geopolitical and economic costs have been immense. The power struggle between the US, China, and rising blocs like the expanded BRICS has created a fragmented world where cooperation on global challenges like climate change and pandemics is more difficult. For the individual in 2030, life is a mix of remarkable progress and persistent uncertainty. Remote work, powered by advanced tech, is common. Healthcare is more personalized, thanks to AI diagnostics, but job security is precarious, and the need for continuous learning is paramount. The global financial system is more decentralized, with digital currencies and alternative payment networks existing alongside traditional banking. Navigating this new world requires a level of financial and digital literacy that was once optional but is now essential. So, what does this all mean for you, right now? How can you prepare for this turbulent and transformative future? First, embrace lifelong learning. The skills that are valuable today may not be tomorrow. Focus on developing abilities that are uniquely human. Critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, and adaptability. These are the skills that AI will complement, not replace. Second, think globally, but act locally. Understand the major international trends, but pay attention to how they affect your own community and industry. Diversify your investments, not just across different asset classes, but also geographically. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, whether it's a single currency, a single country, or a single industry. Finally, build resilience. This applies to your finances, your career, and your mindset. Create a financial cushion, develop multiple income streams if possible, and build a strong network of personal and professional contacts. The coming years will be challenging, but they will also be filled with incredible opportunities for those who are prepared, informed, and ready to adapt. The future is not something that just happens to us. It's something we can help shape. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the economic future. If you found this analysis valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What is the biggest trend you're rewatching? Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.